Hello, Elk Grove Unified students, families, and staff. I'm Santhi Pinkerton.
And I'm Sandeep Dosanjh, and welcome to another episode of EGU News.
Yeah, our focus here on EGU News is about healthy minds, healthy bodies, and healthy learning. And today, we're going to give you a district, county, and state update.
Yeah, that's right. So today's update will be brief. We want to first start off by thanking all of the parents who have responded to the parent input and preference information for the 2020-2021 school year survey. Our goal is 100%. So far, as of today, we're at 37%.
That's great progress. And also during today's EGU News broadcast, we will briefly explain how to start and how to finish the survey, as well as explain why we're asking for parents to choose one of those 4 preferences.
Yeah, that's right. And Zanthi, we also posted a video answering frequently asked questions onto YouTube and Facebook. So we invite all of our families to check that video out. We also will be creating some how-to videos to assist parents with completing the survey.
That's great. Sunday, guess what we received today?
What?
We received approval from the Sacramento County Public Health for the EGUSD Sports Reopening Plan Guidelines for 2020-2021. So basically, this will help us start with next week of phase 1 and starting on Monday, June 22nd, and then more information will follow once we get rolling.
That's great. And the plan and any forms can be viewed and downloaded by visiting the EGUSD Athletics website. For student athlete forms, please click on Forms. Student athletes are encouraged to obtain their physical exam if their previous physical exam documentation has expired or they are a new athlete.
Right, and that's just based on, CIF bylaw section 503G, and people can look that up once they see the letter. So also today, Sandeep, we have been able to submit the EGUSD activities plan for 2020-2021 in order to get approval again from the Sacramento County Public Health, and that is the extracurricular, co-curricular activities like band, dance, flag teams, etc. So that was submitted today to Public Health, and we're hoping that we'll get approval then early next week.
So that's pretty much anything that's not sports related, right?
Well, basically the activities like I described, the activities like band, dance, flag teams, those things, they're called co-curricular and extracurricular activities.
So they have a separate plan that needs to go through vetting from the county public health.
That's correct.
Got it. So lastly, a special board meeting has been scheduled for June 22nd at 3 p.m. via Zoom to review local and state health orders and to provide the Board of Education with a brief introduction of the educational program options for the 2020-2021 school year. Please look for the meeting details on the EGUSD website.
All right, so first, let's tell parents where they can even find the survey.
Yes, so surveys were sent out to all families by email from the following email address: nosurveyreply@egusd.net.
Excellent. And we want to make sure parents understand it's a very special survey that we're doing where the district is sending that survey out to a parent's email inbox. Now, some families, there's 2 parents that are in the family. So if one parent responds to the survey, then it's done. The other parent may still get the email, but they'll get a response that the survey's already been completed. So just that little technicality there for people who have multiple people in the household for the students. Now, once you receive your email, it's pretty basic. You just want to start the survey. You'll see it says start survey. And then you want to go through the survey, and we're going to explain a little bit about the preferences and filling in boxes if necessary. But then basically you go through that, and then you want to come to the end of if you're in the English portion, the survey is in English and in Spanish, English first, Once you get to the bottom of the survey, it'll say next page. You have to hit next page, and then you'll see Spanish. Just go, if you're not filling it out for Spanish, just go ahead and continue on to the bottom. Just scroll down to the bottom until you see finish. Once you see the finish button, click on that to say you're done, you're finished with taking the survey, and then you're done, you're finished.
Yeah, that's very important. So one thing to remember is that if parents want different preferences per student, then they can input their student's information and select the preference for that student.
Yeah, and let's go back over that just a little bit. So here's the chunk of the survey. People are going to see at the very top, all of my students. And this means preferences for all of my students. What that is asking for is if you have 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3 students, you want the same preference for all of those students. That you want option A for all of them, option B for all of them, option C or option D for all of your students, whether it's 1 or more. So if a parent doesn't want to fill out individually or customize it, they don't have to. If they don't want to do that, that's not their preference. They can merely select, I want all of option A for all of my students, even if it's just 1 student. So that's that first box that's up there. Now, if a parent wants to customize their preference for their students, maybe they have like an elementary age student, right? So, I mean, how old is it's your nephew?
Yeah, I have a nephew that's not 8.5 years old.
Yeah, so you might want a different preference for your nephew versus, say, if I had a high school student, I might want a different preference, right? Or if we had 2 kids. So some parents might want to choose option A if they have a high school student, for example. And we'll explain what option A really is getting at. But then you would write the student information in for that student, their ID, and then the other information that it's asking for, and then select the preference A, B, C, or D for that student. And then each one after that, you can also further describe what preference you want for each individual student. So in the start of this survey, it's either I want the same thing for all of my students and I'm done with the survey, or I want to individualize per student as I go through and have a different preference for each student.
Okay, so let's talk about those 4 preferences, A, B, C, and D.
Absolutely. So starting with option A or preference A. Now, what this whole survey is about really understanding how many people are interested in distance learning. I'm sure there are some people out there who've expressed, hey, I've never, this is something new. We never really had an opportunity to take advantage of something like this. We really find that it's a great solution for our student. We want to continue with distance learning. So really what option A or preference A is about is that it's a family who says, you know what, regardless of the health conditions, regardless of what's going on all around us, I would really like to continue for the whole year, next year, and maybe even beyond in a distance learning kind of format. And so we need to understand how many parents are out there who are interested in that. So that's really what option A is asking.
Okay, so what about option B?
Okay, so option B, C, and D after that are all fairly similar. They just have a little bit of nuance. So option B says, what I really prefer is to have my student completely back in school, a full return to school. But if we can't do that, if because of the health recommendations or the criteria, the situation, COVID, all of these things, if that's not necessarily possible, I'm okay with distance learning. I would opt for distance learning.
Okay.
It's like a temporary kind of a thing, but they're willing at least to do distance learning.
Okay, so the language of B is similar to C. So explain preference C.
Sure. So preference C is, again, a parent who really is interested in having their student be back at school. That's something they would like to see, but they also understand that there's some situations where we may only have to, we may only be able to do small groups. We're going to have staggered this or staggered that. We might have to have alternating days, etc. We want to know of those parents who, even though they would like to be back with like a traditional education experience, they're willing to be flexible, and they're willing to, they're not necessarily in for distance learning completely. They kind of want to mix. I'm okay with a little bit of distance learning, but I would also really like to have my student back at school physically with their teacher, with some other classmates. And I understand that it will be small groups. And maybe I have to be flexible with my own schedule, that maybe it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing, or a Monday, Tuesday, etc.
Okay, so for preference D, we clarified that by selecting this option, it does not mean the parent prefers to disenroll.
Correct. Option D just, again, further gets out, I have a preference to have my child back at school completely like it was back in January and February. If that is not necessarily the way things are going to go because of the criteria that the schools have to, go through with small group sizes, etc., then I am interested in at least exploring some other options. And that's all it's saying. It doesn't say that there's an interest to, or that there's action being taken if somebody selects that. There will be no action. It's just data collection at this point.
Got it. And thank you for providing those clarifications, because we have been receiving a lot of phone calls and emails trying to get more information about what preferences A, B, C, and D mean. So let's take a little shift now and go to our county and state updates.
Okay.
So for the county and state update, as of June 19th, according to the Sacramento County Department of Public Health, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Sacramento County is now at 1,976.
By age group, the confirmed COVID cases are as follows. In the age group of 0 through 17, there are 113. In the age group 18 to 49, there are 1,024. In the age group of 50 through 64, there are 400. And in the age group 65 and over, there are 439 confirmed cases. 67 individuals have unfortunately died from complications of COVID-19, and they were either 65 and over or they had underlying health conditions.
Now, across California, as of June 19th, there are now 165,416 total cases of COVID-19 with 5,360 deaths. More than 3.1 million people have been tested.
Yeah. As of this morning, Sacramento County also amended the public health order that will allow for additional activities.
Yeah, so the new health order also expands allowable activities, as you just mentioned. And for a full list of those available new activities, go online at saccounty.net/COVID-19.
Thank you, Sandeep. The health order also acknowledges the state's new guidance on face coverings. So the order supersedes previous orders and is in effect until it's rescinded or amended by the Sacramento County Health Officer.
Yeah, so they also go on to stress that the best defense against COVID-19 continues to be staying at home and physical distancing, wearing a face covering, washing your hands for 20 seconds frequently, avoiding touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands, avoiding being around people with COVID-19 symptoms.
Exactly. All right. We want to thank you and thank all of our viewers. We want to ask you to stay safe and stay healthy. That's it for today's edition of EGU News. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to click on the little bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. I'm Santhi Pinkerton.
And I'm Sandeep Dosanjh. We'll see you next time.